Matthew Carter built a fishing gear empire from grit and skill, but at 1 a.m., his world cracks. His wife, Hannah, stumbles home, dress torn, reeking of another man's cologne. Her smirk isn't guilt, it's defiance. 20 years of marriage unravel in seconds, and Matthew, a man who carves precision from chaos, vows to turn her betrayal into her regret. This is no ordinary breakup. It's a battle for justice, and Matthew's ready to fight smart. Matthew Carter, 45, leaned back in his truck, the Seattle skyline fading in the rearview mirror. His fishing equipment business, Carter's Precision Gear, was his life's work. 20 years of late nights, calloused hands, and relentless hustle. From a garage startup to a Pacific Northwest staple, his custom rods were prized by anglers nationwide. Matthew wasn't just a craftsman. He was a mentor, teaching local teens to cast lines and chase dreams at community fishing clinics. His reputation for loyalty and grit made him a quiet hero in the tight-knit Seattle fishing scene. Tonight, he was supposed to be at a trade show in Tacoma, pitching to new suppliers. A last-minute cancellation, some mix-up with the venue, sent him home early, a rare chance to surprise Hannah, his wife of 20 years. She ran Bella Chic, a boutique that thrived on her knack for spotting vintage trends. Matthew admired her drive, even if her late-night, brand-building sessions had grown frequent. He pictured a quiet evening together, maybe takeout from their favorite spot, something they hadn't done in months. He pulled into their driveway at 9 p.m. Hannah's car was gone. No surprise, her boutique often hosted pop-up events. Matthew grabbed a beer from the fridge, settled on the couch, and scrolled through his phone. Bella Chic's Instagram showed no posts about tonight's events, just a photo of Hannah, smiling with a glass of wine, captioned "Living the Dream." He frowned, texting her, "Hey, home early. Where you at?" No reply. He waited, the silence stretching. By 10:30, unease crept in. He called. Straight to voicemail. By midnight, his stomach churned. This wasn't like Hannah. Or was it? Lately, she'd been distant, her focus glued to her phone, her answers vague. He checked Instagram again. Still nothing. Another text. "You okay? Call me." Nothing. The clock ticked past 12:30 a.m. Headlights swept across the living room. Matthew's pulse quickened. He flicked off the lamp, sinking into the dark, his beer forgotten. The car door slammed. Silence followed, as if she was gathering herself. Then the front door creaked open. Hannah stepped inside, humming softly, unaware of him. Her heels clicked, then stopped as she dropped her purse. When she hit the light switch, she froze, spotting Matthew in the armchair, his face unreadable. "Jesus, Matthew," she gasped, hand to her throat. "What are you doing here? I thought you were in Tacoma." "Trade show got canceled," he said, voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. "Where have you been, Hannah?" Her eyes flicked away, then back, narrowing. "You could have called. You scare me half to death." "You didn't answer my question." He stood, studying her. Her dress had a small tear near the hem, and a faint scent, not hers, clung to the air. Cologne. Cheap, unfamiliar. "I was with Lisa. Drinks after a pop-up," she said, too quickly, kicking off her shoes with practiced ease. "My phone died." Matthew's jaw tightened. "No pop-up on Instagram." "I checked." Her lips pursed, irritation flashing. "Since when do you play detective?" "I told you where I was." "Call Lisa," he said, crossing his arms. "Right now." Hannah laughed, sharp and hollow. "It's after midnight. Don't be ridiculous." "Exactly." His voice stayed calm, but his eyes burned. "If it's just drinks, call her. Prove it." She stepped closer, defiance in her posture. "I don't need to prove anything. When did you get so controlling?" "Controlling?" He took a step, closing the gap. 20 years, Hannah. I've never questioned you. Until tonight. You're out till 1 a.m., smelling like someone else. Who is he? Her face flickered, surprise, then recovery. You're paranoid. She moved toward the stairs, but Matthew blocked her path, not touching her, just standing firm. Your dress is torn, he said, pointing to the rip. Explain that. It caught on a chair at the bar, she snapped, hand brushing the fabric. What's wrong with you? 20 years, he repeated, voice low. That's what's wrong. You're lying, and I deserve the truth. Hannah's eyes blazed. The truth? You're so obsessed with your fishing rods, you've forgotten how to be a husband. I am suffocating, me too. The accusation hit hard, but he didn't flinch. So, suffocating you, come home reeking of another man? Give me a name. She lifted her chin, voice cold. There's no name. You're imagining things. Matthew nodded slowly, his mind racing. This wasn't a one-off. The distance, the late nights, the lies, it was a pattern he'd been too busy to see. We're not done here, he said, stepping aside. But go ahead, get some sleep. You'll need it. Hannah climbed the stairs, her steps deliberate, no trace of remorse. Matthew sat back down, the darkness closing in. He wasn't the type to break things or yell. He built things, rods, businesses, a life. And now, he'd build a plan. Hannah's betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a threat to everything he'd created. He wouldn't let her take it down. By dawn, he was in his workshop, a small space behind the garage where he crafted his best designs. The rhythmic sanding of a rod blank usually cleared his mind, but today it sharpened his focus. He called Rachel Torres, a divorce attorney, an old friend from his fishing clinics. Rachel, I need you, he said, voice steady. Hannah's cheating, and I think she's planning something bigger. Can we meet today? Rachel didn't hesitate. 11 a.m., my office. Bring everything you know. Matthew hung up, his resolve hardening. Hannah thought she could outsmart him, but she'd underestimated the man who'd turned a hobby into an empire. He'd protect Carter's precision gear, and himself, with the same precision he brought to every cast. Matthew Carter's world is crumbling. His wife Hannah's lies unravel their 20-year marriage. Her late-night return, reeking of another man's cologne, was just the start. Now, a tip from a boutique employee exposes a deeper betrayal. Hannah's affair with a young model threatens to destroy Matthew's fishing gear empire. Armed with suspicion and a sharp attorney, Matthew digs for the truth, ready to outsmart a plot that could cost him everything. The morning after Hannah's late-night return, Matthew sat in Rachel Torres' office, a small space cluttered with legal files and coffee cups. His hands gripped the arms of the chair, betraying the calm he projected. Rachel, a no-nonsense attorney who'd fished with him at Lake Washington, leaned forward, pen poised over a notepad. Tell me everything, Matthew. No details too small. He recounted the night. Hannah's torn dress, the unfamiliar cologne, her flimsy excuse about drinks with a friend. She's lying, Rachel. I know her. She's hiding something big. His voice stayed even, but his mind replayed Hannah's defiant smirk, a look he'd never seen in 20 years. Rachel nodded, scribbling notes. You got a prenup, right? From when you started Carter's Precision Gear. Yeah, Matthew said. Signed before the business took off. Protects my company assets. Hannah's dad thought it was pointless. Said she'd never need it. Guess he was wrong. Good. That's our shield, Rachel replied. If she's cheating, Oregon's no-fault divorce laws won't care, but we can use any fraud or conspiracy to protect her business. First, we need proof. Start documenting. Texts, bank statements, anything odd. Matthew drove back to his workshop, the hum of Seattle traffic barely registering. He'd built Carter's Precision Gear from nothing, pouring 20 years into perfecting rods that anglers swore by. Losing it to Hannah's lies wasn't an option. He checked his phone. Still no reply to last night's texts. Bella Chic's Instagram was quiet. No trace of the pop-up Hannah claimed. He called her boutique, hoping to catch her off guard. Bella Chic, this is Mia, a young voice answered. Hey, Mia, it's Matthew Carter. Is Hannah there? A pause. She's not in yet. Said she had a meeting. Mia's tone was hesitant, like she was holding back. Meeting, huh? No pop-up last night. Matthew pressed, keeping his voice casual. Another pause, longer this time. No event last night. Matthew, can we talk? Somewhere private? An hour later, Matthew met Mia at a coffee shop in Capitol Hill, far from Hannah's boutique. Mia, a 22-year-old employee with a nervous habit of twisting her bracelet, slid into the booth. I shouldn't be doing this, she said, glancing around. But Hannah's not who you think she is anymore. Tell me, Matthew said, leaning in. Mia took a deep breath. She's been seeing Liam, a 27-year-old model for the boutique's Instagram. It's been going on for months. They're not just together. They're moving inventory, expensive vintage pieces, to a storage unit. I overheard them last week. Liam's pushing her to tank Bella Chic's value before she files for divorce. You want a bigger cut of your business. Matthew's fists clenched under the table. My business? How? She's claiming you neglected her, that she deserves half of Carter's Precision Gear. Liam's got her thinking they can outsmart your prenup. He's using her, Matthew. He brags about it to the other models. Says he's got Hannah funding his parties, his car, everything. The words hit like a gut punch, but Matthew kept his face steady. Why tell me this, Mia? My dad lost everything in a divorce when I was a kid, she said, eyes fierce. Hannah treats us like props for her brand, takes credit for our work. I can't watch her do this to you. You got proof? He asked. Mia slid a USB drive across the table. Invoices she's fudged. Photos of the storage unit. I don't have texts, but I know her phone's passcode. Your anniversary. Ironic, right? Matthew pocketed the drive, his mind racing. You're taking a risk. I owe you. Just stop her, Mia said, standing. She's not just betraying you. She's screwing over everyone at the boutique. Back at his workshop, Matthew plugged the USB into his laptop. The files were damning. Invoices showing thousands in missing inventory, photos of a storage unit packed with Bella Chic stock. He forwarded everything to Rachel, who called within minutes. This is gold, she said. If she's hiding assets, we can nail her for fraud. I'm hiring a forensic accountant to audit the boutique's books. Meantime, secure your business, passwords, equipment, everything. Matthew spent the afternoon locking down Carter's precision gear. He changed passwords on all accounts, moved high-value rods to a secure warehouse, and updated his team. 3 trusted employees who'd been with him for years. Hannah might come after the business, he told them in the workshop, their faces grim. I need you to double-check inventory and flag anything suspicious. Mike, his production manager, clapped a hand on his shoulder. We got your back, boss. This company's yours. She doesn't get a piece. By evening, Matthew was home, staring at Hannah's phone on the counter. She'd left it behind, a rare slip. He hesitated, then typed in their anniversary. The screen unlocked, revealing a text thread with Liam. He's clueless, Liam wrote. Push the neglect angle. We'll split the payout. Another. Move more stock tonight. We need cash before the divorce hits. Matthew's blood ran cold. This wasn't just an affair, it was a calculated heist. He snapped photos of the texts and emailed them to Rachel, then set the phone back exactly as he'd found it. When Hannah walked in at 9 p.m., she froze, seeing him at the kitchen table. You're home early, she said, voice tight. Slow day, he lied, watching her closely. How's the boutique? Busy, she said, grabbing her phone. Lots of inventory to manage. I bet, Matthew replied, his tone neutral but his eyes sharp. Big plans for the business. Her fingers tightened around her phone, just keeping it afloat. You wouldn't get it. You're always in your workshop. He nodded, letting her think he was still in the dark. We'll talk soon, Hannah. Real soon. As she headed upstairs, Matthew's resolve hardened. Hannah and Liam thought they could bleed him dry, but they'd underestimated him. He'd built Carter's precision gear with precision and patience. Now, he'd use those same skills to dismantle their scheme piece by careful piece. Matthew Carter's empire is under siege. His wife Hannah and her lover Liam plot to steal his fishing gear business, hiding assets and faking neglect. Armed with damning texts and a loyal ally's tip, Matthew sets a trap. Tonight, he confronts Hannah, dropping clues that unravel her lies. The stakes are sky high. His life's work hangs in the balance, and one wrong move could cost him everything. Will his precision outsmart her deception? Matthew Carter sat at the kitchen table, his laptop open to a spreadsheet of Carter's precision gear's inventory. Every custom rod, reel, and prototype was accounted for, each moved to a secure warehouse that morning. His attorney, Rachel Torres, had been relentless, her forensic accountant already digging into Bella Chic's books. The USB from Mia, Hannah's boutique employee, sat in his pocket, its contents, fake invoices and storage unit photos, burning a hole in his resolve. Hannah's texts with Liam, her 27-year-old model lover, confirmed their plan. Tank her boutique, claim half his business, and walk away rich. He'd spent the day tightening security. New passwords locked down his company's accounts. His team, led by Mike, double-checked every piece of equipment. Matthew wasn't just protecting Carter's precision gear. He was preparing for war. Hannah thought she could outmaneuver him, but she'd forgotten the man who'd built a fishing empire from a single rod in a garage. Hannah walked in at 8 p.m., her phone glued to her hand. She paused, sensing the shift in the air. Working late? She asked, her tone too casual. Always, Matthew said, closing his laptop. You? Inventory issues at the boutique, she replied, avoiding his eyes. Had to sort some stock. Matthew leaned back, his voice calm but deliberate. Stock, huh? Like the vintage pieces you've been moving to that storage unit off Aurora Avenue? Her fingers froze on her phone. What are you talking about? Don't, he said, standing. I know about Liam. I know about the fake invoices, the plan to tank Bella Chic. I've seen the texts, Hannah. Clueless, he called me. Said you'd push the neglect angle to break the prenup. Her face drained of color, but she recovered fast, tossing her hair. You're spying on me? That's low, even for you. Not spying. Listening. He stepped closer, his voice steady. Mia told me everything. The storage unit, Liam's parties, your plan to screw me over. I've got proof, photos, invoices, your texts. You want to keep lying, or are we done playing games? Hannah's eyes darted to the door, then back. You're bluffing. Mia's just a jealous kid. Then call her, Matthew said, sliding his phone across the table. Ask her about the USB she gave me. Or better yet, call Liam. Ask him why he's pushing you to sell my rods on the side. She didn't touch the phone. Her silence was louder than any admission. You don't get it, Matthew, she finally said, voice sharp. You left me no choice. You're married to your business, not me. Liam says, man. He listens. He listens to your bank account, Matthew shot back. He's using you, Hannah. You're not his partner. You're his ATM. And when the money's gone, so is he. Her jaw tightened, but doubt flickered in her eyes. You don't know him. I know enough, Matthew said. I know he's 27, living off your boutique's cash and laughing at how easy he thinks I am to rob. But here's the thing, I'm not. Rachel's got everything. The accountant's report, the texts, the photos. You try to come after my business, and you'll be facing fraud charges. Hannah stepped back, her bravado cracking. You dragged me through court? After 20 years? You dragged us here, he said, voice low. You had a choice. You picked Liam and a con over me. She clutched her phone, fingers trembling. What do you want, Matthew? To ruin me? I want what's mine, he said. Carter's precision gear stays with me. You keep the condo, a fair settlement, and walk away. No games, no lies. Or we let the lawyers and the DA sort it out. Her eyes searched his, looking for a bluff. She found none. You're not this cold, she whispered. I'm not cold, he corrected. I'm clear. You got till tomorrow to decide. Talk to Liam. See if he's still around when the cash dries up. Hannah turned and climbed the stairs, her steps heavy. Matthew didn't follow. He sat back down, opened his laptop, and emailed Rachel the latest update. She's rattled. Push hard tomorrow. Rachel replied instantly. We're ready. Accountant found $150,000 in missing inventory. She's got no moves left. The next morning, Matthew met Rachel at her office. Hannah's cornered, Rachel said, spreading documents across her desk. The accountant traced the boutique's cash flow. Deposits don't match sales. She's been funneling money to Liam for months. With Mia's evidence in those texts, we've got her on fraud and conspiracy. What's next? Matthew asked, his focus razor-sharp. We confront her lawyer, Rachel said. Your prenup's ironclad. Business assets are yours. If she fights, we expose the fraud. She'll lose more than the divorce. Matthew nodded, his mind already on the business. He called an emergency meeting with his team, briefing them on the threat. Mike had rallied the crew, securing every prototype and locking down the workshop. No one's touching your legacy, boss, Mike had said. We're family. By evening, Matthew was back home, waiting. Hannah hadn't called Liam. He checked her phone again, using their anniversary passcode. The text showed Liam pressuring her to move more inventory tonight. Matthew forwarded them to Rachel, then waited. At 9:30 p.m., Hannah walked in, her posture stiff like someone bracing for impact. We need to talk, she said, setting her keys down. This is getting out of hand. Out of hand? Matthew raised an eyebrow. You mean the part where you and Liam planned to sell my rods and claim I neglected you? Her eyes widened. How did you? You left your phone out. He cut in. Again. I saw his texts. Move more stock tonight. Sound familiar? Hannah sank into a chair, her fight draining. It wasn't supposed to be like this, she muttered. Liam said it'd be easy, that you wouldn't notice. He played you, Matthew said, not unkindly. And you let him. But it's over, Hannah. Rachel's got everything. You can sign a fair settlement, or we go to court. Your call. She stared at the table, silent. For the first time, Matthew saw a flicker of regret, but it didn't soften him. He'd built his life on trust. Hers, his team's, his own. Hannah had broken that. Now, he'd protect what was left with every ounce of cunning he'd honed over 20 years. Tomorrow, he said, standing, talk to your lawyer. Make the smart choice. As she nodded, barely audible, Matthew walked to his workshop. He picked up a rod blank, running his fingers along its smooth surface. The fight wasn't over, but he was ready. Hannah and Liam had underestimated him, and that was their biggest mistake. Matthew Carter has Hannah cornered. Her affair with Liam and their plot to sabotage his fishing gear empire are exposed, backed by texts, invoices, and a loyal employee's tip. With his attorney Rachel ready to strike, Matthew faces Hannah's last-ditch attempt to salvage her scheme. As the divorce meeting looms, the stakes soar. Will Hannah fold, or will she fight dirty to steal his legacy? One thing's clear. Matthew's precision is about to deliver justice. Matthew Carter stood outside Rachel Torres' office, the Seattle skyline sharp against the morning haze. His hands were steady, but his pulse thrummed with anticipation. Inside, Hannah and her lawyer awaited, ready to face the consequences of her betrayal. Matthew had spent the last 48 hours fortifying Carter's precision gear. Every rod, reel, and prototype secured, every account locked down. Mia's USB drive, packed with evidence of Hannah's fraud, sat in Rachel's hands, alongside damning texts between Hannah and her lover, Liam. The forensic accountant's report had sealed it. $150,000 in Bella Chic's inventory was missing, siphoned to fund Liam's lifestyle. Last night's confrontation had rattled Hannah. When Matthew revealed he knew about the storage unit and Liam's texts, her defiance had cracked. She'd left the kitchen without a word, but her silence spoke volumes. She knew the game was up. Now, Matthew was ready to end it. He'd built his fishing gear empire with patience and precision. He'd dismantle Hannah's scheme the same way. Rachel greeted him at the door, her expression all business. Her lawyer's Patricia Dawson. Sharp, loves to play hardball. But we got the upper hand. The prenup protects her business, and her fraud's airtight. Ready? More than ever, Matthew said, stepping inside. Hannah sat across the conference table, her posture stiff. Patricia, a wiry woman with a reputation for shredding prenups, flipped through papers, her lips pursed. Hannah avoided Matthew's gaze, her fingers tapping nervously. Rachel slid a folder across the table. Let's cut to it, she said. We propose a settlement. Hannah keeps the condo and $100,000. Matthew retains full ownership of Carter's precision gear and his personal collection. No claims on either side. Patricia scoffed. My client's entitled to half the business. She supported Matthew's startup for years. This prenup's a relic, signed under duress, arguably unconscionable. Rachel didn't blink. Anticipated that. She opened the folder, revealing Mia's photos, invoices, and screenshots of Hannah's texts with Liam. Bella Chic's books show $150,000 in missing inventory, moved to a storage unit off Aurora. Cash deposits don't match sales. And these messages? She tapped the texts. Hannah and Liam planned to tank the boutique and claim neglect to break the prenup. That's fraud, Patricia. Conspiracy, too. Hannah's face paled. Patricia's eyes narrowed, scanning the documents. This is circumstantial at best, she said, but her tone wavered. Then there's the matter of Liam, Rachel continued. A 27-year-old model, living off Hannah's diverted funds. He's already moved on. Check his Instagram. New girlfriend, new city. Hannah was a means to an end. Hannah flinched, her first sign of vulnerability. Matthew leaned forward, voice calm. You thought you could play me, Hannah. You and Liam planned to sell my rods, fake a failing business, and walk away rich. But you forgot who I am. I built Carter's precision gear from nothing. I don't lose what's mine. Patricia whispered to Hannah, who nodded tightly. We need a moment, Patricia said, standing. They stepped out, leaving Matthew and Rachel alone. They'll counter, Rachel said, but they're cornered. The fraud evidence is too strong, and the prenup's bulletproof. When they returned, Patricia's aggression had softened. We'll accept the condo and $100,000, plus $50,000 more in health insurance for a year. Matthew glanced at Rachel, who nodded slightly. Done, he said. Draw it up. Hannah finally met his eyes, her voice low. You didn't have to humiliate me. You did that yourself, Matthew replied, not cruelly. You chose Liam over 20 years. I'm just protecting what I built. The papers were signed by noon. Hannah kept the condo and $150,000. Matthew kept his business and collection untouchable under the prenup. As they left, Hannah paused. "I didn't mean for it to end like this," she muttered. "You didn't mean to get caught," Matthew said, walking away. By evening, Matthew was back at his workshop, his team buzzing with relief. Mike clapped him on the shoulder. "Told you, boss. She didn't stand a chance." They'd already prepped for the National Fishing Expo, where a major deal with a lodge chain loomed. Carter's precision gear was stronger than ever. A week later, Mia called. Hannah shut down Bella Chic. Couldn't keep it afloat after the inventory vanished. And Liam? He's in L.A., posting with some influencer. Hannah's working retail now, small job. Matthew nodded, unsurprised. Liam had bled her dry and bolted when the money ran out. Hannah's empire of lies had collapsed, just as she planned to collapse his. He felt no joy in her downfall, only a quiet resolve to keep moving forward. That night, he drove to his new lakeside cabin, a modest retreat he'd bought post-divorce. Casting a line into the water, he felt the weight of the past year lift. The expo was days away, his business thriving, his team loyal. Hannah's betrayal had tested him, but it hadn't broken him. He'd outsmarted her not with anger, but with the same precision that made his rods legendary. The water rippled under the setting sun, and Matthew knew. This was his victory, clean and earned. Matthew Carter triumphed over Hannah's betrayal, saving his fishing gear empire with cunning and a bulletproof prenup. Now, a year later, his business soars, but a chance encounter with Hannah at a major expo tests his resolve. Has she changed, or is she scheming again? As Matthew casts his line into a new future, he faces a final choice: cling to the past or embrace the peace he's earned. The stakes are personal now. Will he rise above or look back? A year after the divorce, Matthew Carter stood in his booth at the National Fishing Expo in Chicago, the air humming with vendors and anglers. Carter's precision gear was the talk of the event, its custom rods drawing crowds. Matthew, now 46, had expanded the business, adding 5 new craftsmen and landing a deal with a national lodge chain. His team, led by Mike, hustled around him, showcasing a new carbon fiber rod series that had pre-orders booked out 6 months. Matthew's fishing clinics for Seattle teens had grown too, earning him a feature in Anglers Monthly as a craftsman with a heart. The past year had been a grind, but not the kind that broke him. Hannah's betrayal, her affair with Liam, the plot to tank her boutique and steal his business, had left scars, but Matthew had turned pain into purpose. The divorce settlement left Hannah with their condo and $150,000. He kept Carter's precision gear and his rod collection, untouched by her schemes. Mia's evidence, texts, invoices, photos of hidden inventory, had sealed Hannah's fate, exposing her fraud to her lawyer and collapsing her plans. Bella Chic shut down within months, bled dry by Liam, who ditched her for a new mark in L. Matthew was casting a line at his lakeside cabin when Mike called with the expo invite. "They want us front and center," Mike said. "Your comeback's the story." Matthew agreed, seeing it as a chance to cement his legacy. Now, surrounded by gleaming rods and eager buyers, he felt steady, grounded. The betrayal was behind him, replaced by a clarity he hadn't known in years. Midway through the expo's second day, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. "Matthew." He turned to see Hannah, standing 3 booths down, working for a vendor selling outdoor apparel. She looked different, not in appearance, but in her posture, less defiant, more subdued. She approached, hesitating. "I heard you be here. Your booth's impressive." "Hannah," he said, nodding, his tone neutral. "Didn't expect you in this scene." "I'm with Western Outfitters now," she explained, gesturing to her booth. "Developing their clothing line. It's a fresh start." He studied her, searching for the calculation he'd once known. It wasn't there. "How's that going?" he asked, not out of spite but curiosity. Her eyes dropped. "Not like Bella Chic. That fell apart after everything. I'm learning, though. Trying to do better." An awkward silence hung between them. Matthew remembered the texts, Liam's mockery, the storage unit stuffed with her boutique's inventory. He could have twisted the knife, mentioned the fraud, her mall job, Liam's betrayal. Instead, he said, "I hope it works out." She blinked, surprised. "You mean that?" "I do," he said. 20 years meant something, even if it ended ugly. "I don't wish you harm, Hannah." She nodded, a flicker of regret crossing her face. "I misjudged you, Matthew. I thought, I don't know, that you'd break." But you didn't. I bent, he corrected. Didn't break. There's a difference. A client waved Matthew over, ending the moment. Good luck, he said, turning away. Hannah didn't follow, and he didn't look back. That evening, in his Chicago hotel room, Matthew got a text from Mia, now his online manager. Reeves Lodge chain confirmed. Biggest order yet. Team's celebrating. He smiled, typing back. Lakeside Grill when I'm home. You earned it. Mia had doubled their website traffic, her loyalty a stark contrast to Hannah's deceit. The team felt like family now, a bond forged through the fight to save his business. Weeks later, Matthew stood on his cabin's deck, the lake reflecting a golden sunset. His phone buzzed. Rachel, his attorney, checking in. Ran into Hannah at a legal conference, she said. She asked about you. Seemed genuine. She's trying, Matthew said, reeling in his line. That's her path now. Rachel paused. You're different, you know. Stronger. Had to be, he replied. But I'm not carrying it anymore. After the call, Matthew cast again, the rod's arc perfect. He'd heard through contacts that Hannah's new venture was stable but small, her confidence tempered by failure. Liam was gone, chasing new schemes in California. Matthew felt no satisfaction in their struggles, only a quiet compassion for a woman he'd once loved. The expo encounter hadn't stirred anger or longing, just closure. His life had shifted. The business thrived, with a waiting list for custom rods and plans for a new workshop. He'd started mentoring more kids, teaching them to fish and build with their hands. Mia had joined him for dinner recently, their friendship cautious but real, built on shared respect. At 46, Matthew wasn't starting over. He was building anew, free from the shadows of betrayal. As dusk settled, the lake's ripples smoothed out. Matthew realized he was happy, not because Hannah had fallen, but because he'd risen. He'd chosen integrity over vengeance, precision over rage. Carter's Precision Gear wasn't just a business. It was proof that he could weather any storm and come out stronger. The stars emerged, and Matthew cast one last line, certain of one thing. This was where he was meant to be.